Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Chris with Expat Theory. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. You can see over my shoulder, it's a nice rainy morning. About to have a full day of it. I think I'm going to be in this kind of gross weather all day today, unfortunately. I am basically running from Kentucky over to Maryland, and there's a nice wall of weather on the radar. And it's running all the way from Florida up to the Great Lakes, and it's moving off to the east, which is where I'm going. So it's going to be one of those days. Anyway, I wanted to jump in here and make a quick video. Getting a few comments here and there. People, there's so many different ways to do trucking, and I'm kind of catching some heat here and there from people who are making way more money than I make. There are other options. There are other ways to do trucking. You don't have to do what I'm doing, which is just a plain company driver doing over the road. Now, one of the main differences is if you are to become an owner operator or go through a lease purchase plan and actually own your own truck. That is a completely different animal than what I'm doing. You know, my company owns the truck, they pay for the fuel, they pay all the expenses on the vehicle, and they just pay me to drive. As a owner operator lease purchase program, you own the vehicle, you pay all the stuff on the vehicle, and you start your own company, you pay your own taxes. You're your own boss, and you know it's your own little trucking company. Okay, so you manage that, and sometimes you can work with bigger carriers to be providers of loads, and you split the profits. And sometimes you just take your own stuff. You know, it all depends on how you want to run it, and the potential for gross income is huge. Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year versus me trying to reach $100,000 a year. And I don't knock anybody that if you can get into trucking and make money and be happy and satisfied and make a good living, hey, I'm all about it. But the lease purchase owner operator path was one that I did not choose. My game plan was different. I knew coming into this that I had a 10-year window. That's me coming in playing the short game versus other people who are coming into trucking. They're playing the long game, and there's a lot of opportunity here. So if you're a younger person and you want to play the long game, you can do well. You know, if you manage it well, you can do quite well. But it wasn't what I wanted and wasn't what I needed, and it didn't fit my plan. So for me, I made the choice of coming into this with a 10-year window to get to retirement. I've set myself goals financially along the way of how much I want to put back each year into savings and build a portfolio, because that's going to be a big chunk of my plan, is building a portfolio that pays me enough each month to augment my Social Security. Keeping fingers crossed that, you know, in 2032 or something like that is when our government is at its deadline when it has to fix Social Security. I have a feeling it's going to happen before that, but yeah, they're going to have to pass a tax increase. There's just no way around it. It's going to be a political suicide for whoever champions that cause. but it's going to have to happen. And as oddly enough, I feel confident that it's a common sense thing. They're going to have to do it, even though they don't like it and they don't want to. So I kind of feel like Social Security is going to be around when I need it. They could come out of the woodwork with some other replacement plan. I don't know, but I don't foresee that happening. They're making too much profit off of the system the way it is now. They're probably not going to change it. So anyhow, what I make per month from Social Security plus what I make from my portfolio should give me a healthy budget in my retirement. Especially being overseas, I should be able to live quite nicely, you know. Probably a little bit higher living standard than I've lived before here in the States. Simply because the cost of living is so much different, you know. I could probably get by here in the States and do okay, but why do okay when I can go over there and satisfy my desires for travel and worldly experiences and live even nicer on the same amount of money. So for me, it just makes more sense to take that and go overseas and live good. Now, I kind of throw out a little bit of an analogy though, because some of these guys are coming at me a little sideways, you know, like, well, I made this amount of money, and you know, you don't know how bad you have it, and you don't understand. No, I understand, but you're trying to take. I'm going to use an analogy here. You're trying to be like a NASCAR driver with a company-sponsored car and pit crew and all this other stuff, and you're coming to a guy who's got a decent job and a family and all this, who's driving a Camry, and telling him, you don't know what you're missing. You're not running 170 miles an hour around the nicest tracks in the world, and making all this money, and you're comparing apples to oranges, and it's not the same thing. So while you're out there making all of this money, driving your own truck, doing the owner-operator lease purchase program, hey, I'm behind you 110%, man. Great. But that doesn't fit what I need. It doesn't fit the plan that I'm working. I didn't get into this to start my own business, to pay my own taxes and do all of that stuff. I got into this as a company driver, get paid to drive, and then do it for 10 years and then get out. And I'm done. I don't want to have the entanglements of all the business end and trying to sell off the truck and sell off all the assets that I've had to accumulate to run this business. I didn't want all that. I didn't want the headache of it. I didn't want the hassle of it. I don't want that kind of work to be dealing with the whole time that I'm here. I just wanted to get in, make my money, and get out. And I chose over the road versus some of the other options, being local or driving for a non-over-the-road company doing, day driving, that kind of stuff. I chose the over-the-road for the advantages of, A, I want to see the country more. I want to be able to travel around. B, I don't have overhead for a residence. I live in my truck. So I'm saving money that way. So it's an actual benefit to me, a physical, tangible, monetary asset. So the over-the-road driving fits more so the plan that I'm working. It may not be the best way to do trucking. It may not be the most profitable way to do trucking. I know this. I'm not foolish. I'm just making the best choice for me based on what I need and what I want and what my goals and plans are. So there's a lot of money to be made in the trucking industry. There's tons of different ways to do it and get into it. And I just figured I'd get out here and let you know that, I know those options are out there. I know they're available. But I'm working my plan, which does not include all of that. This is the fastest, easiest way for me to get into the trucking industry, make my money, get to retirement, and then go. And in the process of doing all of this, it's been beneficial because I have pretty much wiped out all of my baggage. I don't have a household. So when I get ready to retire, I don't have a house to sell. I won't have property or any kind of, the accumulation of stuff that we do as human beings, especially Americans. We accumulate stuff. Even George Carlin made a whole comedy bit about how we accumulate stuff in a house. And then we end up buying a bigger house so we can accumulate more stuff, and keep going and going. I've gone the absolute reverse. Everything is shrunken down. I literally can put everything I own into my car. And my car's pretty tiny. And I'm working on getting rid of even more. By the time I'm ready to retire and leave, my goal is to have everything down to about 2 or 3 bags. And that's it. And that's all I'm taking with me. Everything will be liquidated. And that way when I travel, I'll be traveling fairly light. And that's the goal. So I don't want to accumulate. I don't want to have all these loose ends that have to be tied up when it comes time for me to retire. And that's a big reason why I didn't go into trucking in a different path. All right, so that's going to be it. I just wanted to make that short explanation. Well, it's not real short, but at least an explanation, because I've had a number of people kind of coming at me trying to tell me that I don't know what I'm doing, and that I should be making more money, and that I'm being abused, and it's just not. They don't understand from my perspective, and they don't understand why you wouldn't want to go bigger, and make more and do all of this. They don't get it. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up right here. We'll see you guys in the next video. If you know anybody who's interested in this kind of content, please share it to them and tell them about it. Hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.